Love, live, life. Life can be glorious and hideous. Stick your feet to the ground, but don't think you are counted out. Don't let the wind pull you and tear you apart. Let yourself live freely and love, and you'll be happy. No limits. Just keep on.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another Iron Will podcast with me, Shane Warner, and
John Chase.
So what this podcast is all about is we are trying to get stories from people that have been through a traumatic experience in their lives and came out a different person.
Yeah, they have all created an iron will. So what is an iron will? A burning determination that cannot be stopped or hindered by anything, willing to do anything to get a desired outcome, extremely resilient. So what we like to say is just keep punching.
Yeah. So sit back and relax, and we're going to start the show. And I want to ask John if I've ever told him about the time that I got shot.
First off, he didn't tell me he was going to ask me all these things, so I'm not prepared. I'm just kidding. No, actually, you didn't. You've told me about plenty of other injuries and things, but yeah.
So, I was going to go shooting with a friend, and so we were at his parents' house, and his brother just got a new handgun, and it was a Springfield XD, and so he was showing me his new gun and stuff like that, and then he wanted to take the slide off, and so to take the slide off of a Springfield XD, you have to pull the trigger, and so
something was in the chamber.
Yeah, and he pulled the trigger. I was crouched down to the side of him, and so the bullet went through his leg and ended up in my arm, right there. Yeah. And so the bullet stayed in my arm, and so, but the reason why
it went through his leg and then into your.
Yep.
How did he react?
Oh, he was.
He didn't hit an artery, anything like that. He was okay.
In fact, it was like a centimeter away from his main artery, and so it was just a freak accident. Yeah. But anyway, why I'm telling you this story is because, like, I've never experienced someone trying to take my life and seeing it. Like,
gotcha.
Yeah. I was obviously attacked and hit in the head with a baseball bat, but I didn't see this guy.
Yeah, he came from behind and hit you. Yeah,
yes,
that's right.
And so
you didn't get to see the rage and the content.
I think that's what would really mess with my mind, is seeing that in someone that's trying to take your life.
Yeah.
And so I guess the reason why I'm telling you this story is because today we have on Badge Tony, and he was involved in a shooting.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And so he probably saw this guy's eyes and that kind of thing. And so
let's hear the story.
Yeah. So I just want to, you can start off by like introducing yourself or whatever, Tony, and we want to touch on that story also.
Yeah, how that affected you and all that. Okay, take it away, man.
Hey, everybody. First, I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah,
obviously.
For sure. Yeah.
Great experience. I'm getting the experience here, so I appreciate it. Basic about me is that, I'm still an active cop. Been a cop for over 10 years. In a detective role at this point. Basic upbringing, sports, went to college, nothing out of the ordinary growing up. Like I said, got on this job about a little over 10 years ago. Seen a lot on this job, experienced a lot on this job, a couple shootings, Obviously, as you mentioned, I was actually shot in the line of duty
Yep.
a couple of years back.
Can you dig into that? I mean, you don't have to give us all the details, like where and when, you know, all that,
Well,
but kind of your experience emotionally.
Yeah. Well, that's what we want to get into.
How it affected you. How did
how it affected you and the PTSD it gave you and stuff like that.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, somewhat, you know, the background of the story. We were investigating a case. We went to try to speak with the suspect at the time. Well, he failed to comply with us, and then the fight began. I started off as a physical fight, trying to take him into custody. After, I don't know, what seemed like 10 minutes, probably only a few seconds.
Sorry,
you know.
How many police officers were there on the scene?
Just me and my partner at the time.
Oh, okay.
So we get in a wrestling match with them, and we're trying to contain him and keep his hands. At that point, we do see the gun on him. It's in his kind of his front part of his body and his pants. So at that point, we're trying to, you know, control his hands.
Yeah.
As we go to the ground, he ends up getting one shot off, which, you know, hits my partner in the hand and then enters my lower abdomen, right near the hip. So at that point, we return fire and, you know, stop the action, and he dies on the scene.
Okay.
I ended up getting flown down to a local hospital near there. Spent 2 weeks in the hospital after a couple different surgeries, some minor rehab while I was there. Came back home after that, 2 weeks, and then spent another 9 months in rehab also to get back to work.
So physically, how hard was that, like, to overcome
the rehab or whatever
and all that kind of stuff?
It was hard. I mean, it was definitely hard because I'm a bigger guy. Anybody that knows me, I'm real into weightlifting.
And
I mean,
where
you follow that stuff?
Yeah, where did you say the bullet went in you?
The lower right abdomen.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah.
So just near the hip area.
Yeah.
Entered into the stomach there.
Did it burn? Like, I've heard bullets burn like a ton. It's like that's what I heard.
Yes, actually, that was the only thing I felt at the time because the adrenaline took over.
Yeah,
the burning. That's the thing I remember.
Yeah. You were probably already full of adrenaline before he got the shot off because you're fighting. And yeah.
Like I said, when my buddy shot me, I just reacted like, you just fucking shot me, bud. And like, it was just a weird.
Yeah, and then you're looking at his leg,
and then he shot himself. So but yeah.
It was the same thing. I mean, I didn't have quite that kind. Mine was more of a reactionary situation, so I reacted.
Well, you had to return fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And then after that, you kind of like, but eventually that adrenaline definitely runs off, and then that pain kicks in, and
yeah, sure,
it was brutal.
Yeah.
So let's talk like emotionally how that.
Yeah. Well, I want to go into like, did you see in the suspect's eyes like malcontent or like ill content or whatever the right word is, but anyway, did you see that like in his eyes? And
it was more, I think, more fear. I would say, like the same as Troy was in my
fear
eyes,
in his eyes.
Fear because he's feared. He's fighting for his life. I'm scared, you know, obviously, but I'm fighting for my life at the time, and both of us are just hoping to get away.
Yeah,
you know, get out of it alive. And his goal is get away. Mine is just to survive at that point and take him into custody.
For sure.
Yeah. It's that's an intense story, but let's go into your more of your rehab.
Yeah, my rehab was hard. It got to the point that even once I got back home, it was still like surgeries basically sliced up my whole stomach from like my way lower abdomen up towards the chest area. So it became very hard.
Was it a full metal jacket bullet?
No, hollow point.
Okay.
38.
Okay.
So it was hard because you don't realize how much of your abdomen you use every day.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You just do it. And it got to the point that like it was hard to move, get out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of different struggles along the way there. Even in rehab, it was still hard rehabbing because, 3 weeks ago, before this, I was perfectly fine in the gym, working.
Yeah.
And now I'm, having trouble even getting out of my hospital bed.
Yeah.
That took a lot of emotional toll on me at that point. After so long, it got to the point that I started asking myself, like, is this ever going to end? Like, when am I going to be normal again? When am I going to be healthy again?
Right.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm not even thinking on the mental health. I'm just thinking,
Yeah.
physically,
Well,
I just
that probably took more time to set in, right?
yes.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yep. That was probably, the physical part went for, like I said, good 9 months before I was cleared physically, but I know it was a few months later after the incident that the mental aspect really started setting in.
And that's when you're starting to get back into like you're working out again, you're all that kind of stuff, and realizing you couldn't do the same thing.
And were you back to work, like at the police force or?
Active duty?
Not at this point.
Okay.
Not at this point. I was the PTSD started setting in right after I got cleared physically from the doctors because they said there's just nothing we can do now. You just need to rehab. So then I rehabbed for another 6 months of actual physical, therapy rehab. But once I was cleared, is whenever now looking back, is when I started to see the changes in me, the PTSD and the mental aspect. I started shutting myself off from people. I got used to just sitting at my house alone all the time.
Well, you said you were an extrovert like before the incident, and you feel like you're more of an introverted person after the incident.
Absolutely. I was always out. Like, I loved going out, being around people, being around friends, and then just stopped. And I just became sitting alone all the time by myself. And I ignored friends.
Drinking.
Girl I was dating at the time started cutting everybody off and just sitting here by myself, watching TV and drinking whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super hard to be alone like that. And like the isolation is not good for anyone. Like, and
no.
That's the craziest thing about this COVID bullshit.
Like right now.
It's just
isolation
doesn't make sense. Get out and go into the sun and like go on with your life. Yeah.
We're lucky here. We're not in a huge city. We can hit the mountains like that. Like we can just hit the mountains and get some fresh air and feel nature and like really like kind of de-stress all this other stuff. But some people, man, if they're stuck in an apartment in LA somewhere,
screwed.
Yeah, dude, it sucks for them, But so you're saying you started to isolate yourself, and how did your girlfriend take that?
Well, I'm not good. I mean, people would try to point things out and say, "Hey, maybe you need to see a therapist," things like that, and I would just I'd get real snappy about it and be like, "I'm fine. Like, fucking leave me alone."
Yeah.
I just kept pushing it away. Honestly, for a very long time, like. I never talked about the incident. I never thought about the incident. I just completely blocked it all out.
Right.
You could think, you start blocking out something so major. What's that doing to you mentally?
Right.
And like, I don't know what, like, I'm just trying to find out, like, did you forget stuff about that actual incident, or was there anything like that?
I don't think so. I mean, I just honestly never thought about it. It was just that I consistently found some way, I guess, to be honest, to just be doing stuff alone that would keep me from thinking about stuff.
Interesting, yeah.
And I just never processed
like working on your car or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I remember doing some really stupid things just to stay busy that now I'm like, what were you doing? I remember I had bricks around my mulch, and I remember moving the bricks just to put them back in and straighten them up. Like insane.
Yeah. Just busy work.
Busy for a while.